Oh, it's embarrassing actually, sharing the experience, but somehow you, the one who read, and I are only strangers, so I just left it out. This happened a year ago in Canada. After what happened to me, and people around me are always asking me why I am changing 360 degree. People around me continue to ask what happened, why I changed, why, and why. I'm really tired of these questions. Why? I know that if I tell the truth, nobody trusts me and simply says I'm crazy, so I don't share it with anyone, but except only my grandma. When I was a kid, clowns or scary people frightens me to death. I don't know the ghost or are they real. I was only 5 or 6, so never bother me. I remember when I went to the amusement park, I was crying just because of clowns. It made me realize that clowns can be really, really scary. I'm staying in Montreal to this point. When I was 6 years old in the summer, I went to stay with my grandparents in rural Canada. In the daytime, I spent time with others, childhood friends. We played soccer, and I came back around 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. It's still not dark, but as a child, I had to go before 8 p.m. Grandma rules. Every day, I rushed home, making sure that I obeyed my grandma's curfew. But that day, I was late. I rode my bike and I saw a girl, probably around 16 or 17, who seemed to have injured her ankle and was just sitting next to the road. She wore a white shirt, had very long hair, which fell to her wrists. I couldn't get a clear look of her face because she kept her head down, her long hair concealing the most of her face. As a child full of curiosity, I stopped by her and asked, "What's up?" I was a stupid, curious kid back then, seriously. When she turned around, then I saw her face. She was pale skinned and had the strangest eyes I had ever seen. They were almost colorless. Somehow it's not scary to me. I'm terrified to clowns more. She said to me, "I am fine, just a little hurts." Her voice is very soft. I ask her where she lives. I can help her to get home. Which she said, "I have no home." 6-year-old me actually have no brain back then. I just laughed and said, "Good joke." Little did I know the weight behind her words would haunt me later. She said I should go home because it's almost dark or my grandmother will worry. I asked her, "Do you know my grandma?" She didn't say anything afterwards. I told her I was going home now, take care of myself, and start pedaling my bike. Before I left, she said, "You're a nice boy. I can't wait to tell. You're a nice boy. I can't wait to see you again when you are a little older." I smiled and said goodbye. When I got home, I did not say anything to anyone. Just a normal person, a normal day, and nothing odd to me. During the summer, I go back to my grandma's place, but nothing unusual happened last year. When I was 16, I hung out with my childhood friends. We were chilling in the backyard. Boy, girl, 15 to 17 years old of friends. Some already started drinking and smoking. I did not drink, but I smoked. But even though I am already 16, have to follow my grandma's rules and get home by 8. On the way back, I saw a truly familiar face pass in front of me and I stopped. She keeps on walking and I said, "Hey, I remember you." She keeps on walking. I said, "Hey, wait." She stops and turns around, and yes, she is the girl I talked 10 years ago. But her face did not age at all. Same face, age 16 to 17 years. After 10 years, actually, I am already around her age now. I never got a chance to think about what I saw. She she walks towards me very quickly and a word from her mouth. "You change," with an angry tone, and she moves away from me. I stood there. Her eyes are full of hate. If you ever saw the eyes of a physical killer in prison or anyone from a mental institution. The eyes of the deceased who do not belong to this world are so different, similar to the eyes of a serpent, but not really the eyes is the problem. Because I can feel the energy she sends to me. When she looked at me, hatred runs through my eyes, deep inside my chest, and anger rises within me. With so much hatred inside me makes me freeze empty and stop altogether. What actually is in me? When I realized what happened, it was already 9 p.m. I was scared. Actually, I am crying. Just because of her eyes, I don't know what is happening, but I know she's not really a person. So I quickly go home and sit in the living room, looking at the wall. As I almost lost my own sanity, a slow voice coming from behind me saying, "Hey." I jumped from where I was sitting and shouted. I was really scared. I saw my grandma. She looked at me and said, "Do you see something?" I shook my head in response, and she asked me to sit beside her and asked me what happened. So I said everything about the girl that happened 10 years ago, and now my grandmother told me, "You wanted to know why I always ask you to be home before 8 every day." Then she tells me a story. In the old days, when she was growing up, there was a huge tree beside the road on my way home. It was an ancient tree and has a family living near there. All the children used to laugh and play around that tree. My grandma was only a child then, and she remembered an older girl called Anna. She was the prettiest girl back then, and she was also a great singer and used to sing to others when they gathered under the tree. When she was 17, she left and moved to the city, where she had hoped to pursue her dreams. However, a terrible thing happened there. She fell in love with a married man, and he made use of her. In the end, when he discarded her, she came back in shame, pregnant with his child. She was a changed woman. Where once she had been cheerful and pretty, she was now like a mad woman, dirty and unwashed. Her hair and her clothes were a mess, and she ate very little. She would talk to herself, constantly muttering, while her eyes, bloodshot and wild, stared out at the world with hate. When it was the time to deliver the baby, the child was stillborn. This causes her to lose her mind completely and hang herself on the old tree. Strange thing started to happen then. People would hear a voice singing sad songs at night. When they looked around where the sound was coming from, they would see her ghost hanging from the branch where she had committed suicide. Time passed, the tree withered and died. When my grandma told this story, I can see her shed a few tears. She always had a soft spot for Anna. I did not ask much after. I'm just, I was just saying to my grandma that we keep it a secret. The rest of the time I have during the summer at my grandma's, I locked myself in the house. A few days later, on my way back to Montreal, I asked my dad to stop by a place where I met her. I get out of the car and walk to the same place we meet twice and tell, I'm sorry, I changed from a person you used to know. I don't know why I feel guilty and shame. I also maybe because my grandma story. When I turn around, I can feel a cold breeze pass by me and make my body really, really cold. I went back inside the car. My parents asked me what happened. I said nothing, just silence looking at the view until home. When I came home to sleep, I heard 3 knocks outside my bedroom window. But I don't care, I am tired, and I went to bed quickly. That night I sleep, I have dreams. I keep this to myself only. And the next morning, I have a high fever for 3 days. After all these experiences, I stopped doing everything that's bad for me. I still hang out with my friends, but sometimes I say no, but I quit smoking. I sometimes of my friends says what happened to me. I'm not as fun as before, but I don't have an explanation why I am changing because I can't. They say or they will say I am insane. Until now, there is a voice that keeps whispering to me from time to time. After my eye contact with her, I can see things that others cannot and that are hard to see. But now I'm not scared. If I see something that does not belong to us, as if I have protection and I don't think they can touch me, so I guess maybe I'm insane. No one has to trust my story, but I'm glad to share the burden of the year.